everyone, this is Dastagir Jahangir from Washington, D.C., the Voice Studio. I have a very special guest today. I think all of our spectator or whoever over there online, you know him very well, Jamal Hassan. Jamal Hassan obtained MBA degree from the University of Dhaka. He had extensive professional experience in both the public and private sectors in his native country, Bangladesh, and the United States of America. In USA, he had been professionally involved in the information management field for long 30 years. I mean, this is very nice. Jamal Hassan has been a Bengali linguistic and an examiner for the US Department of State more than a decade. He provided linguistic assistance for the FBI and Drug Enforcement Agency, gathering valuable experience in signal intelligence. For more than 6 years, he provided intelligence support for the US Army Central Command in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Now, let me introduce one more thing about Jamal Hassan. Jamal Hassan is a security analyst and has been advising US Department of Justice and US Department of Homeland Security in socio-political matter relating to the South Asian region, especially I mean in Iran. Today, we will talk about Iran, Dateline Iran. Welcome, Jamal Hassan, to my show.
Thank you very much for bringing me to your platform. I have been following the Voice for some time, and I see you are a bright star now. Obviously, I can see, because I see you sometimes asking hard questions in Department of State. That's not noteworthy.
Thank you so much. We will not ask you any tough question today, but it's the matter, the subject matter is itself is very hot. Iran, Dateline Iran. Tell me how you ended up to understand or follow Iran. Just a brief.
Going back to 1982, when I came to America, I settled in Florida in the beginning. My sister used to live there. And incidentally, I came across with some Iranian Americans who were my co-workers in the university. We used to do some odd jobs. And those Iranian American friends, they were all secular and basically anti-Khomeini. Those days, Khomeini was in power. I'm talking about 1982, 3 years after the so-called Islamic revolution in that country. So, Mr. Jahangir, I think I sent you a picture of myself. It was taken in 1986, I think a month of February of 86, 40 years ago. I was in a rally. It was an anti-Khomeini rally. And I was with hundreds of thousands of Iranian Americans coming from all across USA. The picture was taken near Lafayette Square in Washington, D.C.
So Lafayette Square is in front of White House, is it correct?
Yeah, yes, very close to White House. And you see behind me, they are all Iranian Americans. Anyway, it was an experience for me 40 years ago. So I had a track record. And also, I wrote articles on Iran. And as I said, beginning, with the Iranian friends in Florida, I got interested in Iranian affairs. And obviously, I became a champion of democracy and freedom in that country. And I knew how much hardship, the pains my friends were feeling those days, because they all were uprooted from their country. Some of them could not go back to Iran. Anyway, because of my so-called little bit of experience or some scholarly work, I wrote articles. And a lady reporter, her name is Moni Bosu. She's now working with the CNN. She interviewed me on Iranian Affairs. I think it was published in Atlanta Journal-Constitution, once famous journal, a newspaper. I think it's probably not existent anymore. It was almost as prestigious as the Washington Post. So my article was that article was published where I was interviewed on possible Iranian government's possible ties with Al Qaeda, etc., etc. Anyway, so that's whatever I can say in short. My connection with Iran.
Thank you so much. So let's come back to USA. That now your domiciles in USA. Donald Trump now back in White House again. How do you assess the direction of Washington's policy towards Iran? Do you see an increased likelihood of a military strike or deliberate push toward regime change?
It could be either or it could be neither. So I can say one thing. At the moment,
if I can just mention you one other thing, what is the difference you also feel now Donald Trump is in power and Biden is not there? So what is the change?
Parties, historically were soft on Iran, and we know that Mr. Obama was the softest president ever. He even you probably know that he gave back a good amount of money to the regime, which was once frozen. And when you already said that I was about my deployment in the Middle East. When I was deployed in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, I think in 2017, when Donald Trump became the U.S. president, he was given red carpet in Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia was not very happy with the Obama's policy direction, Obama White Houses, because Mr. Barack Obama was not only soft on Iranian regime, he was, in a sense, his policy was going in some ways counter to the national interest of the Gulf Arab countries. So basically, the Saudis did not trust Mr. Obama. When Donald Trump visited Riyadh, I think it was the Islamic Summit, I was deployed at the time in Riyadh, and I saw he got red carpet, and Donald Trump's, after taking the presidency, it was the first international visit. And I saw the posters, and I have pictures of that. I saw, American flags everywhere in Riyadh. So, but Mr. Trump's interest, I can say, as a superpower, and I see even if you go back to American, policy, you can say dynamics for the last 100 years, you can see in many cases, USA pays more attention to their own national interest, not necessarily helping emerging democracy, not necessarily helping humanitarian causes. So even those Iranians were crying, and we knew there were a number of revolutions or demonstrations, you can say, in Iran.
Yeah, that actually I can add to
like a 2009
to the
Green Revolution, when Democratic Party was in American presidency. That Mahsa Amini then protest in September 16, 2022. But President Trump, his track record shows that his main goal was to curtail or decimate that Iranian ambition in nuclear power ambition, because Trump believed that it would be dangerous to keep the nuclear warheads under the hand of some mad dogs. So that is the main thing. I mean, I would say in mostly all the US presidents emphasized more on Iranian nuclear ambition, how to curtail or how to abolish the ambition, than in helping the crying masses who wanted freedom. So in this case, America's best ally in the Middle East, Israel, has a different agenda. We knew that our Iran had this global ambition, especially when Ayatollahs came to power in 1979 and Khomeini and the successive regimes, I mean, including under Khomeini, who took power in 1989 after the death of Khomeini, that Islamic Revolution, Islamic Revolutionary Guards, IRGC, or the Iranian regime, their goal was to impose their idea of Sharia or Shiaism, or bringing a circle of fire around Gulf Arab countries, Sunni Arab countries. And we know the ring of fire, how still it is not totally extinguished. If we see the ring of fire in Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, or Iranian proxies in Syria and Iraq, we see that Iran successfully cultivated those proxies around Israel or near Israel. And after October 7th massacre in Israel a couple of years ago, then Hezbollah were shooting missiles into Israeli territory. And Hezbollah was empowered by Iranian regime. Some people might be thinking, why the Shias have so much an ambition? Because to destroy or help even the anti-Israeli Sunni groups. The main thing is that after the emancipation, or when the Islamic Revolution succeeded, Iranian regime's mantra was, or their battle cry was, to destroy Big Satan, the America, and the Little Satan, Israel. Because this was not only a nationalistic revolution, it was a theological revolution, which goes back to hundreds of years. This revolution, and the idea is that Shia Islam or Sunni Islam, or somehow Islam will reign the whole world, and other infidels, especially infidel powers, should be destroyed. And unfortunately, this is the happening now, that they wanted to destroy Israel. And there is, I heard there is a clock in the center of Tehran where it shows how many days left to destroy Israel. So on the other hand, Israel knew it. Israel was not only upset because of Iran is going to have a nuke, because North Korea has a nuclear bomb, Pakistan has nuclear bomb, but Israel is not that much worried about nuclear armed Pakistan or even North Korea, as much Israel is worried about Iran. Nuclear armed Iran would be a dangerous situation. Creator of a dangerous situation in the mind of Israeli leaders, because they know that Iranians will never retreat from their position of wiping out Israel from the face of the world. Now, at the moment, Israel is, highly alert. Same with America. America has the Armada and all this. That probably Nimitz class, their aircraft carrier, the Abraham Lincoln is very close to the Gulf of Hormuz. You probably know that. Moreover, they have got USS Canberra, Santa Barbara, USS McFaul, USS Misher, and USS Roosevelt. Those are like literal combat ships and also destroyers. America put all the pawns or all the items on the chess.
You want to say America put all the assets around the ocean,
including the CR-135, that you can say the fueler, those aircraft which defuels the combat aircrafts.
Can you confirm that it's happening right now, or is still happening there, or it's already there?
Already. I can say Abraham Lincoln has from South China Sea, it already proceeded towards Gulf of Oman, close to Iranian territory, very much. So, but we have been following Donald Trump for some time.
But let me give you a little bit here. Tension between Washington and Tehran are, as you explained right now, that their U.S. assets are there. I mean, ocean assets are there, and Washington and Tehran are again escalating their tension in between. From your assessment, I really want for our listener that from your assessment, how real is the risk of direct U.S. military strike on Iran?
What about, let's not forget Operation Midnight Hammer last year, June 22nd. 125 planes took part and 14 of them are B-2 bombers. And they also lobbed Tomahawk missiles too. And we know that how they decimated Fordow, the biggest nuclear facility. But there is a saying, but even the IAEA chief also at that time, that Iranian nuclear, whatever their projects were, they got serious setback. But it doesn't mean that they are finished. For example, the centrifuges or the enriched uranium. Some observers believe that enriched uraniums were transferred before those Fordow plant or Natanz, those were destroyed. So that's one thing that they might have, and they have the technological know-how. They still have scientists. Okay, they can build up. So America's main worry is how to finish the nuclear ambition once for all. Now, if the mullahs come to terms, if they negotiate, so the two possible scenarios I can say at the moment which can happen: the ayatollahs or the mullahs or the ruling elites of Iran, they may come to terms. They may, definitely they may negotiate with Mr. Trump, like the detente. Remember one time, the Soviet, Brezhnev, those days of the Soviet Union, they have detente. So Brezhnev and Nixon had detente. So who knows? The Ayatollahs might go for a detente with Trump, and Trump will say, okay, because Trump's main motivation would be to neutralize Iran from the nuclear club and make a deal, and maybe deal with the future oil import export or whatever you call it. So that's one possibility. Okay, now in the meantime, the Ayatollahs will be weakened. My Iranian American friends always tell me, Jamal, whole world love the mullahs, Ayatollahs, excepting the people of Iran. They say very sadly and sarcastically. I don't know whether it's true or not. But when I see England, France, their governments of those countries, UK, France, you can see they were very, 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 friendly with the regime. Okay, now possible scenario, I said that negotiating with the mullahs and come to terms and obviously lower down the temperature. And second possibility, which can happen also, show of strength without striking, US can go for naval blockade. But Mr. Jahangir, you know that in the meantime, China is alleged to have been helping Iran. China allegedly sent a number of aircrafts. We don't know whether those are carrying armaments or not. Number one. Number two, Russia also. Going to Russia and Iran, they had a very good trade turnover. Annual turnover was almost $5 billion US. And their goal was to reach $40 billion US. In case of China, we know that Iran all these years under sanction, they were shipping oil clandestinely, almost like a smuggling out their oil, and 90% of oil customer was China, and they used to get oil $10 per barrel. Imagine $10 per barrel Chinese government used to get. So both China and Russia had a great interest, in having good relationship with Iran. Although the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi recently said in an interview that they don't want any hostility with those countries whenever he takes power. I mean, even if he becomes the ruler of Iran in future Iran, but he said, I will still have relationship with those countries on equal terms. Okay, I don't want to be exploited like the Ayatollahs were exploited by China and Russia. So you can see at the moment as we speak, Russia possibly helping Iran, giving them some arms. We don't know whether it's a S-500 or no, but some high-tech gadgets, high-tech gears they're giving. So if the things become more fuming, if it's more, you can say, explosive, I don't know, suddenly Israel or USA might strike first. But again, I say, at the last moment, we can see what you saw recently, Mr. Dastagir Jahangir, how Trump plays his game. You saw in Davos, Switzerland. We saw Greenland. Many of the commentators were thinking that Trump would send U.S. Army to Greenland, or ultimately what happened? Things cooled down very soon. Didn't you see that how he played? So that's the way Trump plays, and I cannot say categorically. I can say that Trump will strike tomorrow. It may not happen even.
So, as I understand, everything is there. Every possibility you told can happen, and also you explain the situation. Since I would go back to your expertise that for 6 years or more than 6 years, you provided intelligence support for U.S. Army in that area, in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. And definitely, you know better than everybody, I might reach out. And the explanation you give us, but still, here are some unanswered situation. For example, Iran has faced, we are going to now political fabric or inside Iran. Iran has faced repeated waves of popular uprising in recent years. What distinguishes the most recent unrest from earlier protest movements you see? Because, the last movement was where the crackdown was serious. Even we do not know how many people were killed and how many are going to be hanged and how many are already been hanged. So, Jamal Hassan, as an expert on Iran, what do you think on that?
I can see this movement is no more, encircling with the elitist or the students or urban intelligentsia, which happened during even Masa Amini protest also in 2022, and mostly Gen Z and middle class people, they probably got out on the street. But this time, it was more of an economic protest. The merchants from the bazaar who played a pivotal role during 1979 uprising, and which ended up in Islamic Revolution. In 1979, also, the Tudeh party and many of the communist socialist parties also fought side by side against Shah and helping Khomeini coming to power. So this time, people, general mass, because of the tremendous economic hardship they're facing. Obviously, sanction had some role to play, but you have to remember, billions of dollars were siphoned off to proxy wars. Where? In Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, around Israel. these ayatollahs, instead of helping their own people, they're siphoning off millions of dollars. And recently, their the price went down, even like $1 equal to millions of, you probably know that, millions of reals. And the price, inflation was so rampant nowadays that even daytime the price may be
People are,
it would be one price, and
it,
the evening it will be cheaper than that. So merchants were losing money. So that's
the inflation. I heard that inflation is even higher than before Second World War in Germany.
Yeah.
It's like something like that.
People cannot buy anything. Now the common people got agitated, got upset. Not because of hijab. Those days are over. Oh, for example, I should tell you one thing. For the last 4 or 5 years, Ayatollahs were relaxing the hijab rule. If you see any videos, current videos, Iran Mall, you will see 40%, 50% women are not wearing any head covers. So there is no
inside
hijab.
Iran. You mean in Tehran?
In Tehran, yeah. So they don't bother about hijab anymore, the Ayatollahs. Now they bother about one thing. They bother about Reza Pahlavi and Israel. If you say that I love Reza Pahlavi, you might be executed immediately. But if you wear hijab, it doesn't matter.
So something is changing there. Okay, let me ask you another very simple thing. Still, we will stay inside Iran. How effective has the Iranian regime been in suppressing dissident this time? What tools they were using? Security, legal, or also digital? Does it really on most heavily today? That's how it started, how it's ended, and do you think that it's really ended? Because everything we see inside Iran right now, whatever we can see from outside, like you, is it shaky or something going on inside Iran?
Two things. I believe also that during the last 1 year, even before, even after the Operation Midnight Hammer, when Israel, USA basically struck Iran with the lethal weapons. So during the last 1 year, I think even after the Operation Midnight Hammer, there are Mossad operatives, I believe so, and possibly they're helping dissidents. And there are, you can say, bomb blasts or explosions in IRGC centers or IRGC facilities all across Iran. Even today also, even Tehran, a couple of days ago, there were the Ayatollahs or the regime will say there was a gas leak, the common word they say, but there are bomb explosions. Okay. Brutality has no bounds. The regime from the beginning, from the get-go, from 1979, like that happened in Bangladesh. If you compare like when the jihadis took power on 5th of August, I mean, the Hizb ut-Tahrir-led movement, the student
in Bangladesh, 2024,
and
5th of
so
August.
this is the first time we saw hanging bodies under the bridge, and this is the telltale sign of jihadis. So they used to do the similar things, but they used to hang sometimes with a crane. In 1979 they did. Even now they are doing also. When they hang anybody, it will be hanging on a crane. Okay. Now even conservative estimates say that maybe 20 to 30,000 people are killed. And how they're killing? I'm giving two scenarios. In Bangladesh, Awami League activists or secular activists are dying in jail. Okay, sometimes because of the who knows, because of the some kind of injection or lethal, some poisoning. In Iran, they're doing. It's already reported that they are injecting some prisoners with potassium. So and some of them are released. After the prisoner is released, they may have a heart attack after a couple of days. Okay, this is one way. And secondly, they are killing. Recently, one leader said, I think Khamenei ordered everybody, all the IRGC guards to shoot to kill. Okay, you have to know. I was told by my Iranian friend 6 months ago, in city called Mashhad, they brought Iraqi mercenaries, okay? Iraqi, who don't even speak Persian. They're Iraqi Shiite, possibly. Nowadays, it was, some reports say that they brought mercenaries from Lebanon, and then Lebanon, Iraq, and Pakistan, country like Pakistan, mercenaries. So, because Iranian regime was afraid that even the IRGC members of Iranian origin someday may stop shooting, because they have got their own relatives on the street. Who knows? So this is one thing. Yes, you are right. They become more brutal. And I think the movement has subsided to some extent. There is no doubt about it. But they have a leader. There's a Crown Prince Pahlavi who actually lives close to you or close to our residence, not too far from Washington, D.C. Pahlavi is the uniting factor. And there was obviously a lot of defection. If you follow that, even some high officials from IRGC, that IRGC stands for Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. IRGC, some of the leading figures are defecting. Number one, Basij. Basij is the helping hand. Like remember in Bangladesh, we had Al-Badr, Al-Shams, auxiliary forces. Basij is auxiliary, but it is sometimes it's more brutal than IRGC members. Basij people, they are trained to shoot to kill, okay? And many of the Basij, they are also defecting. Now, I am hopeful there'll be more fracture. Even, who knows, even the President Pezeshkian, he recently talked, he said something against the Iranian government, the president himself, Iranian president. So I don't know whether there'll be more fracture, but Khamenei's time is limited. Ali Khamenei is in a bunker now, and he already delegated. Some other people will take charge very soon. Unfortunately, as I always say, if America wants a weakened Iran under weakened mullahs, that is still not a good news for us. I mean, who want to see Iran a pluralistic, democratic, secular country? So there is a possibility also that Trump might make a deal with a weakened, mullah-dominated Iran. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We are talking on a situation in Iran, Dateline Iran. We are talking about, and we have a special guest today. The guest name is Jamal Hassan. Jamal Hassan is a security analyst and has been advising U.S. Department of Justice and U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Jamal Hassan, thank you again for joining with us. I am still in the middle of the show. That means I have so many more to know from you for our spectator or listener. If everybody shared this live, because this is a so important issue nowadays, like Bangladesh, something every moment going on, and Iran and around Iran also developing stories every day. We do not know what's really going on, if Donald Trump is going to take direct action or not. That's why I have invited my very special guest is Jamal Hassan. Everybody know that him very well from the voice. The Jamal Hassan, let's go to your IRGC. You explained it a little bit, but let's dig in deep on that. Do you see signs of fractures within Iran's power structure, such as tension between IRGC, clerical leadership, and civilian institution? You just mentioned a little bit about that he's in bunker, but can you verify or can you tell that really this fracture already exists, or you have any verified information on that? Thank you so much, Jamal Hassan.
There, there is some fracture, but it is not yet significant, very unfortunately. Although there's a uniting factor. If you compare Bangladesh situation, obviously you saw that Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, is still the final, destination of any kind of movement, because at the moment nobody is listening to any Awami League leaders. So similarly, even I was not a great fan of Crown Prince Pahlavi 10 years ago. I know he's too soft, or I feel and obviously a big YouTuber named Patrick Bet-David, he recently crucified Pahlavi like anything. But I also see that he is the biggest uniting factor, because only a month or two ago, in Munich, Germany, there were like 10 or 12 competing opposition groups. This Reza Pahlavi united. So, and because of him, I think many of those fractures is going on. Many of you can see they come in front of camera. The officers of IRGC or even army, they come in front of the camera and they show their allegiance to the Crown Prince. So that is a great thing. Now, two things happening. On the one hand, Iranian regime has fractures. On the other hand, obviously, Israeli Mossad, they are playing a great role in creating internal dissent or even internal sabotage. You know that because Israel has no other choice. I can say, if you compare America's interest and Israel's interest, I can tell clearly that Israel definitely wants a regime change, not because Israel don't like to see their Ayatollah's face, not because of that, because Ayatollah already said clearly that we want Israel to be wiped out from the face of the earth. And also Israel, he had a history, because if you go to the time of Cyrus, how Cyrus helped the Jews, if you go to thousands of years old history, if you go back to even Crown Prince's father's time, that time Middle East was much more peaceful, and Iran and Israel were good friends that time. So Israel wanted to bring back that old story, old days when Israel and Iran were great friends. In America's case, if you say America would be happy if even weekend mullahs give a good trade deal. America, in a sense, America's interest and Israel's interest do not always coincide. In this case, I don't think so. But on the other hand, if Israel makes initiative, finishing the job, getting rid of the regime, America would not bother to say no. It happened last year also. You remember when Israel started to attack, because Iran lobbed lot of missiles, hundreds of missiles to Israeli territory, and Israel attacked Iran. America said, okay. America probably blinked his eyes. Okay, go ahead. You know how it happened. Then America also took part, selectively, attacking the Natanz or Ferdo plant with his bunker buster. You remember that last year, what happened. So about the fracture, it is happening, but not significantly, about the fracture in the regime. So, but we can hope for the best.
Sure. Let me go to this more to get from you. Some analysts argue that external pressure make them even stronger. I mean, the regime, while others say it accelerates collapse. Based on current condition, which argument do you find more convincing?
No, external. In this case, it is not. It is not
strengthening. Not strengthening.
No, at the moment, I'm talking. I cannot talk about what happened 10 years ago, for example. Okay. 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, sanctions.
The question is,
against sanctions.
What I ask you, Jamal Hassan, that external pressure is because inside Iran there are something that people really people do not like this regime anymore. But if it comes from external, that is coming, already we've seen that, as I told you, some experts, some critics, some analysts on the Iran, like you, they are thinking that external pressure, the people on the street, they do not like it, so the regime becoming more powerful. Or again, some other people are telling that it is accelerating the collapse of the regime. But if you can give us a concrete, that what's really you think as an expert on that area.
I really can say only one thing, that when you talk about pressure, we can only say that you are giving the scenarios of sanctions. I mean, what else? Pressure in, I mean,
The American, all kind of treasures are around Iran water right now,
no,
as you
that
told
pressure
me.
means nothing until you do the job. So basically, an external pressure, impossible. They believe they only know the force. They only know the language of force. Okay, they don't believe that you just show the force. No, you have to attack. So right now,
You are talking about the Iranian regime. They understand in the force. I mean, don't show. When you attack, then they understand it is already.
I'm talking about that. They know exactly when you attack. Until then, they will not bother. Because remember one thing, that theocracy, it is theocracy for God's sake. It is not regular political science. They believe in Sharia. They believe in martyrdom. They love death more than life.
Because they are selling same in Bangladesh. They are selling because they are how you say in Arabic or Persian. I know that they are not believers in God. They are not believers in Allah. So killing them, they are making their path to the heaven. I mean,
exactly. So it's more delicate and more dangerous to deal with so-called human beings who believe in a different kind of idea. Okay, their worldview. Now the question is, as I said, 20 years ago, America was giving sanctions. I heard from many people, I mean, in my Iranian friends in America, their relatives in Iran, they are not happy with America sanction. Obviously, now no more, because they understand. Forget about sanctions. Let's get rid of the regime. People are so much furious with the current regime. Now, one thing you have to remember: these IRGC, Islamic Revolution Guard Corps, they are more powerful than Venezuelan army or Haitian army, Bangladesh army. You have to remember, they have billions of dollars in their all exchequer, because it was selling oil for the last 30-40 years. Because as you see, they had ghost ships. They are selling to China, they are selling to Russia, they are selling to even Pakistan, even India also.
Okay.
So they were making money. So Iran was not really a poor country. You have to understand. So they brought equipments, S-400 probably from Russia. They got Chinese aircrafts. So they are not a third world, a poor banana republic. They are not really a banana republic.
Let's go a little bit out of Iran. So Jamal Hassan, everybody knows already that Jamal Hassan is an expert on Iran issue, especially Middle East. Jamal Hassan, let me ask you what is your opinion if US or same like Israel were to strike Iran militarily again? How might that impact internal opposition movement? Would it weaken or it will relay the regime if America or Israel attack again?
No, definitely at the moment, it will strengthen the movement. It will, because people are afraid to go out. And if Israel or America strikes surgically, with all using all the intelligence tools. You have to know that
Yeah.
why to attack, how to
Yeah.
attack.
Yeah.
So, and you have to know one thing also, that America, either through Starlink or anything, they have got linkage with the ground. They have got connection with the demonstrators, okay, or organizers, okay. Many of them, they are now hiding somewhere because of the tremendous brutality, because you know that they are killing young people also, right and left, anybody on the street. So hopefully if they cleans up the power centers, then this time people can go out on the street. And I personally do not believe that American boots should be on the ground. I don't believe that American soldiers should be on the field, like in Iraq. Again, Mr. Jahangir, you know the cases in Iraq, even Libya and Iran, they are not same. Reza Pahlavi is telling 100 times, Iranian people are already an educated, enlightened group of people who don't want theocracy. You understand? But unfortunately, during the Iraq war, it was not the same. We don't know how many Iraqis were against Saddam Hussein. We did not know. You showed the picture 40 years ago, Jamal Hassan in a Washington, D.C. street. So there are a movement for years. Can you tell there was anti-Saddam movement anywhere in the world? But again, the America, I'm talking about our administration, attacked Iraq on a wrong premises. You know the WMD, which was not there, and it was total failure. And ultimately, what happened? Iraq became a vassal state of Iran. When I was in Saudi Arabia, I heard in Kuwait, I heard from my Arab colleagues that Iranians were everywhere in the society, in the governmental entities of Iraq. You understand? So Iraq, now the Shiite Iraq is pro-Iran to some extent. It was a big mistake.
That is clear. That is clear.
It was a big mistake. It was a big mistake on American side.
So let's come back again. You already mentioned that thing, but still I want to reassure that we understand. Let's talk about regime change inside Iran. Is regime change in Iran a realistic possibility from within, or would it require external intervention to fundamentally alter the political system? Please, Jamal.
You don't, external pressure should do the job only to clear up the mess, basically the power centers, the brutal centers who are killing people, okay? But the political, whatever the process, that will be done by the Iranians, led by, at the moment, no other but Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, okay? And you have to know, Mr. Jahangir, you are suffering like we are suffering because our secular Bangladesh is under the domain of the jihadis or global Islamists. In America's, if you say the America's track record is not very good, and if you think about Afghanistan, I always say the original sin was committed by the Soviet Union. I'm talking about the Soviet, when they engineered the coups against King Zahisha, one after another. The Soviets made the big mistake. Then Americans came and Mujahideen, Islamist group Mujahideen, then Taliban in Pakistan, which was nurtured by with the help of America and ISI, Islamist group. So America has a track record of helping the Islamists. Similarly, in Al-Nusra Front in Syria and many parts of the world, or going back to the 60s in Indonesia, there was anti-communist upheaval, and Suharto took power, pro-American Suharto. But do you know the hundreds of thousands of young Indonesians were killed, and Islamists took over, remember, and with the blessing of America. So America has a track record of helping the Islamists. Even America never bothered about
since you were talking about this issue, the influencing outside, I mean, especially from USA, how are ordinary Iranians interpreting U.S. threats and sanction? Do they see U.S. I mean, again, these are I'm trying to get from you that ordinary Iranians, how they will take
Ordinary
it or how
Iranian,
they are taking it. Do they let me finish? Do they see Washington as a potential ally and or an aggressor or something more complicated? Please.
I think secular Iranians have no problem with America. You know that even with Israel, for example, after 9/11, you'd be surprised to know even in Gaza, in part of Israel, in some Arab countries, they enjoy it. 9/11 after, but only the Iranian, even in Tehran, the secular minded Iranians, they had a candlelight vigil, memorializing those victims of jihadis in 9/11 2001. You have to remember that. So secular Iranians now are a big force in Iranian society. I think they are bigger than Bangladeshis. You have to, because look into Bangladeshis. You see, I'm so sorry, Mr. Jahangir, you met many Bangladeshis. You saw a great percentage of them are pro-Jamaat BNP. You know that. And during the anti-Hasina movement, I would say a great, maybe 60 to 70% of Bangladeshis outside Bangladesh supported those Lal Badars, those, Hizbut Tahrir led those goons. You understand? But if you talk to any Iranian, I can say it could be a vendor in Dallas, Texas, or even Arlington, Virginia. You will see the portrait of Reza Pahlavi. Talk to any Iranian American. I can bet there is a 80% chance you will find him a secular modern Iranian, not like our half-wit, Bangladeshi or Pakistani or even Indians I'm talking about. If you compare that, they are far more enlightened. This nation, believe me, they are far, far more enlightened than average Arabs or average Bengalis. You understand? They made a big mistake by siding with the forces against Shah. They thought Shah was a fascist. Just like in Bangladesh, Hasina was fascist, as though Lal Badr
Thank
said.
you so much.
Now you see what is fascism. You can go to Bangladesh. You see what is fascism.
Exactly.
You
Exactly. Thank you so much. I will still need some question to ask you, but before I do, for my spectator viewers, I have a special guest today to talk about Iran, the situation, that hot topic right now. Jamal Hassan is a security analyst and has been advising U.S. Department of Justice and U.S. Department of Homeland Security long time. Thank you, Jamal Hassan, being with me. But I have a question on Iran. I will make it like very short. I'll make it longer, but I want you to choose one of three. Looking ahead 5 years from now, what scenarios do you consider most plausible for Iran? I would say number one, my question is number one, managed survival of the current regime, gradual internal transformation, or sudden rupture triggered by war or mass revolt. Jamal Hassan.
At the moment, I can see its point of no return. And then there's a good chance that America or Israel will strike, because Israel knows it very well. It's
they already strike several times, but their regime change never happened. So
now this time,
what the consequence you think
no,
this time?
Remember, this time the people are ready. You have to know that. Those days when even last year also, it was not a big mass movement last year. Remember when Israel and America attacked Iran? This time there's a mass movement, encompassing all facets of the society. You remember that bazaar, the merchants, those bazaar wallahs, the merchants, those poor vendors, and even the office bearers, whoever working, the regular students, Gen Z, 17, 15, 16-year-old. Okay, so people, it's a real mass movement. So you understand. So if why you forget about Bangladesh? Do you know, you are young, but I was a university student in 1971. I was in Tangail, but I saw when the Indian paratroopers are dropping, those parachutes are dropping, whole sky was full of Indian planes. People were cheering. In Dhaka, they were Indian Air Force was bombing, and people are on the rooftop. They were waving to the planes. So yes, foreign intervention is welcomed. We saw that in Bangladesh, how people welcome foreign intervention.
Of course, Jamal Hassan, thank you so much. Since you started with Bangladesh and situation that you've seen physically in 1971 in the last days of December. But now let's compare from the Bangladesh situation and Iran situation. Iran is around 55 years or longer than that. Is a very crucial regime, and it is we would say even fanatic sometimes. And we see this last week, the crackdown, and that was brutal. And we really do not know what's happening, how many people killed. They in Bangladesh is situation just opposite. That people they took to the street. I mean, meticulously designed and emotional blackmailing. But now we see they want to make this country as Iran today. So what you think for the Bangladesh, what is the exit way from this situation? Because once it happened to be Iran, it will not come back within next 3 generations as normal democracy. You are trying, everybody trying, West trying, America trying to change this regime, but it's nothing happening. Still they are killing people and they are in the power. That's why I ask you a tough question on that. Now tell me what is and how Bangladeshi general people should act to stop Bangladesh not to become as like Iran. Please, Jamal Hassan.
First thing that I'm not at the moment, I don't have a very good views about fellow Bangladeshis, home and abroad. I see that they haven't got the taste of Afghanization or even Iranization of the country. Many of them are still in fool's paradise. They believe in that, maybe they think that Jamaat-e-Islami has all the tools to bring out the society to a higher level. And they still have many of the Bangladeshis are in a very wrong footing, I would say that. I don't see a great percentage of Bangladeshis are as enlightened as Iranians. Even if we just take a sample in America, for example, if I talk to any Bangladeshi American, I generally have the preconceived idea that Bangladeshi American would be pro-BNP Jamaat. 1971 or allegiance to the principle of liberation, spirit of liberation is non-existent in a 62, I believe at least 60-70% Bangladeshi Americans or Bangladeshi diaspora all over the world. So that's the thing. And I can say they are not as enlightened as Iranians I meet. I have my relatives in Europe, Sweden, Germany, and they meet their Iranian friends. I hear the same thing. They are all enlightened and very modernistic, not medievalistic like our Bangladeshi friends or relatives or counterparts. So, but there are a lot of differences in the two countries, Iran and Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a poor country. It doesn't have oil. It's a highly populated, small area encircled by a powerful country like India, which is going to be probably third largest economy in the world. And present government is basically playing with fire. They're trying to be anti-India to the greatest extent. And obviously, the secular fabric of the society is not totally diminished. Yes, there is a great influence of Jamaat or BNP, which is a quasi-Jamaat, I can say, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. And Yunus and his gang, they are all basically pro-jihad or pro-Islamized. So they cannot last long in a sense because of the geopolitical situation. Obviously, China and Pakistan will play a dirty role, but India and USA ultimately, as I always believe that USA in this chessboard, USA will side with India, evidently. So USA and India, they will not allow the country go down the drains. Although at the moment, America is reaching out to Jamaat, which is a wrong move, but I think it cannot last long because this whole geopolitics will tell the other things. That because of the geographical situation of Bangladesh, Bangladesh can become Iran or Afghanistan tomorrow. It is not at all possible. So that's the highly positive tone I can give in future. But Bangladesh will definitely go through bloodshed. There's a good chance. It may not go peacefully. It has to go through bloodshed. And I wonder if the aftermath, if Bangladesh map will be the same. If there is a serious bloodshed, Bangladesh, there's a chance that Bangladesh map may change. I'm sorry to say the exact what can happen.
Thank you, Jamal Hassan, for joining us today and for sharing your insights on security and socio-political developments in South Asia. Your perspective adds important context to a conversation that affects not only the region, but global stability as well. I also thank our viewers across the United States, the UK, Bangladesh, and Australia, and around the world for staying with us. This discussion matters, and informed dialogue is essential in time of uncertainty. This is Dastagir Jahangir, and you have been watching Dastagir Jahangir show. Stay connected with us on Facebook, YouTube, and we'll be back soon with another important conversation. Stay safe and good night. Good night, Jamal Hassan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.